But he was a big husky fella, so he just gave it a good shove and the door opened. And as he started to take a step inside, he stopped in shock. Because you see, everything in that room had turned to ash. And there was an odor like smoke and death and burnt flesh. And as he started to back out of the room, he noticed these words on one of the walls, etched into the ash that covered them. "This is my room now. Leave or die." Well, he left, and he went immediately to the head of maintenance. Together they went to the head of the hospital, who alerted security and posted 2 guards outside of room 326 to make sure that nobody entered or left. The head of the hospital then called Nora, and after letting the phone ring many, many times, she finally answered. "Hello, hello?" Well, the head of the hospital convinced Nora to tell her story. And by the end of that day, room 326 was not only shut and locked, it was boarded over, it was drywalled, it was plastered. The next day it was painted, every piece of evidence was gone. There is nothing that would suggest room 326 ever existed, or that the horror who still lives inside was there. So, what I would like to tell you is that if you are ever hospitalized in the Tampa Bay area, and you find yourself on the 3rd floor, stay vigilant if you can, because the most common occurrence is that the clocks on the 3rd floor run backwards. And if you talk to a staff member, they will say, "Oh, that's a side effect of your medication." Well, if you're there and your clock runs backwards, don't believe them when they tell you that, because they know the truth. And now so do you. Thank you.
Walt was a former TV critic with the Tampa Tribune. You may remember reading his stories. And now he's a nationally known teller of tall tales. Tonight, he's going to share with us the story of Wicked Jack, an old Irish tale in which Jack and the devil match wits.
That's right, it's an old Irish tale, centuries old, back when the Celts were in Ireland, and there were caves in the mountain, and there was one cave that they believed was the gateway to hell. If you went into this cave deep enough, you could reach the devil. And one night, Jack is walking down the road. The moon is full, and the breeze is blowing, the trees are moving, and it's dark, and he's walking by that cave, and down the road a little bit, he sees a body lying in the road. It's all dressed in black. It has a black cloak, a black hood. And Jack goes up to it, and he lifts the hood up. And there's a hideous face, eyes glowing red, and a smile that's so hard to describe. There's a scary smile that Jack could burn into his memory, and Jack jumps back, and the body jumps up and extends a bony finger. Says, Jack, I've come for you. Your time is up. You've got to go to hell with me. I am the devil. Jack says, I expected this. He was known as Wicked Jack because he cheated people. He was a trickster. He was a drinker, a gambler. He was in a lot of trouble. And they called him Wicked Jack. And when he told the devil, he said, well, I'll go with you. But he's thinking, I'm on my way to the tavern. I'd like to have one last drink before we go to hell. And the devil says, okay, all right, Jack, I'll give you this one last thing. And so the devil has only come for Jack. He's not come for anyone else. So he pulls the cloak over his face so no one will see him, and he will create a disturbance. And they take a booth in the back of the tavern. Well, they're back there, and one drink leads to another, to another, to another. And finally, the devil says, Jack, we have to go. You've had enough. You've had your last drink and then some. And Jack says, I don't have any money. I can't pay the bill. But when the barkeep comes over, unless you can pay, it's going to create a scene and people will see that the devil's in here. It'll be a chaos. The devil says, what do you think, Jack? Well, I tell you what you can do. You are magic. You can turn yourself into a gold coin, put it right here on the table. I'll give it to the barkeep, and when he puts you in the till back there and he's working, you turn back into the devil and I'll meet you outside. The devil says, I don't know about this, Jack, but I'll try it. And so the devil turns into a gold coin. It's a hideous face on the coin with glowing eyes. Jack grabs that coin and puts it in his pocket. The barkeep comes over. Jack, not going to pay your bill again? Put it on my tab, said Jack. I don't have any money tonight, but I'll come into money someday and I'll pay you. And they wink at each other and Jack goes outside. The devil is in Jack's pocket. He can't get out. Jack, how come I can't get out of your pocket? What's going on? That's where I keep my lucky crucifix. You're trapped. The devil says, let me out of here, Jack, let me out of here. I'll do anything. Jack says, I'll take that crucifix out and you can get away, but give me 10 more years. All I need is 10 more years. I'm having a good time here on earth and I don't want to go to hell right away. Give me 10 years. The devil says, I think so, Jack. I about had it with you. Okay, 10 years. And Jack pulls the crucifix out and the devil pops out and goes down the road. And Jack goes on his way. And 10 years goes by very fast. And Jack is coming down that same road on a dark night. The moon is full, the breeze is blowing, and he sees the body lying in the road again, all dressed in black. And he goes over and it's the devil. He pops up. Jack, your 10 years is up. You gotta go with me, Jack. Jack says, okay, I'll go with you, but I'm hungry. I'd like to have one last meal. And there's a big apple tree here. If you could climb up that apple tree and get me an apple, I'd eat it and I'd be full and it would be my last meal on earth before I go to hell with you. The devil says, oh, Jack, you're so much trouble. I'll do it. The devil is climbing up the tree, and Jack pulls out his knife and he carves a crucifix in the trunk of the tree. And the devil can't get down. He's saying, Jack, what's happened? You've got the crucifix down there. Take it off. What have I got to do to get out of this tree? Jack says, never come for me. Let me live out my life, and I never want to see you again. I never want to go to hell. Let's make a deal. I'll get you out of that tree if you let me have eternity without going to hell. The devil says, you know, Jack, you're so much trouble, I don't think I want you in hell. And Jack goes around and scrapes the crucifix off, and down comes the devil. Well, Jack lives out his life, and he dies. And he goes to heaven, and they say, Jack, you're trying to get in up here? We know you. You're wicked, Jack. You've cheated people. You've fraud people. You've tricked people. You can't get into heaven. You need to get on that cloud and go down to the cave, into the gates of hell. So Jack does that, and the demon sees him come into the gate. The demon says, Jack, the devil doesn't want you here. You can't come into hell. Jack says, well, what can I do? I can't go to heaven. I can't go to hell. The demon says, Jack, there are lots of people like you. You're condemned to roam the earth as a spirit, and you'll have to roam forever in eternity in neither heaven nor hell. Jack says, oh, it was kind of dark out there. I was wondering if I could have one of those embers from the fire to take the light my way. The demon says, Jack, you sure are a lot of trouble. I'll give you an ember, but how are you going to hold it? And Jack pulls out that same knife, although it's turned kind of ghostly. And he digs in the ground and he pulls up a turnip. Irish turnips, they're huge. And Jack takes that turnip and he carves it out. And he carves a face on one side to look like the devil, his eyes and that smile. He puts the ember inside the turnip and he walks off and carries it with him. Well, Jack is so wicked and so disgusting and so much trouble that other spirits who are roaming around have nothing to do with him. And when they see that glowing turnip coming, well, they run away. They don't want to be around him. And pretty soon the Irish folk learn that if they put a turnip in the window on All Hallows Eve, the spirits won't come to their house. And so they come to America. The Irish immigrants, Scots-Irish, they settle in the Appalachian regions. And Jack comes over too, a wandering spirit. They find something better than the turnip to cut and design. They find pumpkins. And they do it in honor of Jack of the Lantern, the Jack-o'-lantern, which we still light up today, even though we may not remember how it got there. Thank you.
Our next storyteller this evening is Mark Muncie. Mark is the author of Erie, Florida, literally wrote the book on Erie, Florida, and a bunch more books on ghosts, and he now hosts a ghost podcast show. But tonight, he's going to tell us about the great white shark of Tampa Bay.
Hi, gang. Thank you for coming to this wonderful haunted theater in the most wonderful haunted city, Tampa, which is on one of the most haunted waters in the world, that of Tampa Bay. Now, many of you know the south of the bay, we have that wonderful bridge that crosses the Sunshine Skyway Bridge. And it has a lot of history, that bridge. It has lots and lots of tragedy associated with it, and its predecessor, which was just the Sunshine Bridge, the Skyway Bridge. And it is still remnant beside the Skyway Bridge, the Sunshine Skyway Bridge, which has the two little fishing piers that you can go fishing on. And the reason those are there is because of that fateful day in 1980 when the span of the Skyway Bridge collapsed. And 23 folks lost their lives that morning when the SS Summit Venture oil tanker was coming in, and then one of those wonderful freak storms we get that come and go so fast over the bay. And this one came, the Summit Venture plowed into the side of the bridge, and the bridge went down. Now, just earlier that year, that same waters also held the home of the worst ever Coast Guard peacetime disaster. The SS Blackthorn was in those same waters, patrolling that same mouth of the bay, and they were doing some work on a buoy when another tanker coming in hooked the little boat, the Blackthorn, with its anchor as the 10,000-ton trawler came by and rolled it over, and several more men lost their lives in the dark waters of Tampa Bay. Now, these are just predecessors of some of the stories there. Now, while the bridge collapsed, most famous thing that happened was a Greyhound bus drove over that bridge and never was seen again. It fell into the waters during the collapse. Most of the victims that day died on that bus crash. Now, I do radio shows, talk shows, and wrote a few books about spooky things. So I wanted to know the histories and talk to the people who experienced this and were part of this. And as I was getting the legends, I would talk to the fishermen of Tampa Bay. And if you ever want ghost stories and you want legends, talk to fishermen. They are the best at telling stories besides these folks. So they will tell you everything about that. And they will all talk about how the crazy bus, the ghosts on the bus, are still seen going across the old span. And they climb up an invisible bridge that's no longer there. And then they will hear the great splash in the water. And then the sharks come to circle. And that's when they know, well, the ghosts are here, but the sharks still smell the blood in the water. Sometimes they'll hear the foghorns go off, and they'll know the sharks are coming because they'll smell the blood in the water because they think the blackthorn might have turned over again. And these sharks swarm, and they will just constantly patrol. Now, we know these sharks are there. We see them all the time in the waters, but there's one all the fishermen fear. This is the great white shark of Tampa Bay. And they will talk about the ghost of the hitchhiker. No problem. They'll tell you about that. The ghostly hitchhiker that gets in your car when you drive across the bridge. And she's covered in water and she looks terrified and you pull over to pick her up. And they'll tell you that story, no problem. She gets in the car seat behind you and you ask her where is she going? Why is she like this? Gone in a second. And no one, and the fisherman, no problem. That's a known ghost. Oh, we'll hear that bus. That bus comes running 60, 70 miles an hour. Sounds like it's going to run us all over. Goes up that bridge and hear that splash. No problem. They'll tell you all about that. They will ask you, are you sure you want to know about the shark? This thing is terrifying. 20 feet long, some say. These are fishermen, so we're going to say probably about 12 feet. But 20 feet long, has scars all over its body from the times it's been hooked, from the times we've even tried to harpoon this thing, and it just, no problem, it shrugs it off like nothing. One time a man with a tarpon net threw it out over the bridge, had it tied to his Jeep. The shark got tangled in it, and that great beast dragged the Jeep into the bay. Had to get 3 tow trucks to tow it out because it had just dragged it so deep, but it still got away. This beast is just magnificent to see and behold. Everybody describes it because it is white. It's not our great white Jaws. No, not from the movies. This thing's real. And they will tell you it to your face. But this thing, yeah, I almost hooked it once. Took off half of my boat. Took my ride. Definitely got the ride. Didn't hurt the boat as much as I said it did. But, you know, that's how they tell the stories. They always want to lighten it up at the end. Now, Florida, because I've written all these books, has lots of fun things. We like to name things down here. Everywhere else has Bigfoot, Sasquatch. In Florida, what do we got? Skunk ape, right? We can't have nice things. Yeah. So, there's a St. John's River monster that swims the St. John's River. And in Georgia, he's called Alahatma, a creature from the Alahatma River. Wonderful name, right? And he's also sometimes called, the Beast of Alahatma. When he comes to the St. John's River, is he called the Beast of St. John's? No. Florida, we call him Pinky, because he's the color of boiled shrimp. So this beast of Tampa Bay's waters, this dark shape that the fishermen fear, there's one very telling mark on this beast. One of the scars bears an unusual shape on his forehead. The shape, because the way it's carved, looks like a swastika, a Nazi swastika. So what do the fishermen call this guy? Is he the beast of Tampa Bay? No. Is he the great white shark of the waters of Tampa Bay? No. Old Hitler. Yeah, old Hitler was up by the bait shop, saw him the other day. Old Hitler was over there, he almost took out a boat. And as a researcher of history and folklore, I go, where the hell does that name come from? So start digging into it. Start looking into archives, start looking into histories, and the answer is pretty easy to see. So sometimes the stories behind the legends are more fun than the legends themselves. So 1940s. We have this wonderful thing that happens overseas called Pearl Harbor out in Hawaii, and a very dark time for America. And we are convinced Tampa Bay is next. We've seen German subs in the waters around Florida coasts. So Tampa Bay was one of the big shipping centers that we're a prime target. So we sent up these wonderful things called spotter balloons. They're big blimps that just kind of hang over the waters, and they job, watch for subs. And they're looking out over those waters, and they see these dark shapes coming into the water, and they call an alert. It's a sub, it's a sub. It's a shark. It's a hammerhead shark. Well, it's 10 feet long. Yeah, it's a shark. They get that big. They follow the marlins. Oh, okay. Oh, it's another one. That's a shark. Another hammerhead shark. So the code name that they keep seeing when they see all these sharks, they go, it's just an old Hitler. It's just another old Hitler. So that becomes the code name for the sharks in World War II. Fishermen hear this on their radios, on their fishing boat radios. Guess what? It becomes one shark. That's how the legend grows. Every single thing these sharks have done is old Hitler. Old Hitler did it. And so that's why the great beast of Tampa Bay we call old Hitler, because it's just one shark. But, that's how legends grow. That's how legends shine. And that's why we throw a little light onto the subject, and things aren't quite as crazy as we think. So when you're out there, those dark waters, remember the blackthorn and those brave souls who lost their lives. Their memorial is there at the base of the bay. You can go to that last rest stop before you hit the waters. Listen for the bus, as you'll hear it go over in the mornings. I've had letters from linemen who were working on fiber opticking and making all those beautiful lights there. And one of them wrote me a letter one day and said, "Muncie, I heard that damn bus. I'm never going over that bridge again." And then I said, "Did you see sharks?" He said, "Yeah, old Hitler went right over there." So ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your time here in Tampa Bay. Enjoy the time at this haunted theater. Hello, Mr. Fedora over there. Hello, Mr. Projectionist. And hello, Charlie, the doorkeeper. And we'll see you on the other side.
Our next storyteller this evening is Wanda Stewart. Wanda is an educator, and she has a very serious day job. She's a prevention specialist with Operation TARR. But tonight, she's going to have a little more fun. A story, another love story. Actually, it's time for another love story. A story called Golden Promises. It's a story about a marital promise. Until death do us part.
Thank you. What are you guys doing? Stretch. Give me a stretch before I get started. Yeah, we need that. Very good. How many, do we have any husbands and wives out here? Couples? Oh, good. I think I can see you. Okay, up and up. Balcony. Okay, this is for you. As a little girl, you loved sitting and listening to your grandparents tell these stories. There's one particular story that I not only heard about but read about. So I'm going to try to give it a little justice. Now, today's world, chores, you usually can get somebody to come do them for you. I work with youth, and I usually ask the question, how many of you cleaned up your room? How many of you have a chore? Many of them do not raise their hands. Okay? But in this story, it's all about the wife doing her wifely duties. Now her husband, he did his duty also. It's the day when the husband went out to work, he'd come home, he'd have his pipe, he'd sit down in his favorite spot. Nowadays it'd be your recliner. He'd sit down in his favorite chair, take out his cob pipe, start to smoke his pipe, and the rings from the pipe, from the smoke, he'd watch them cascade down, and the fireplace would be going, and he's relaxed. And the wife is at home all day, and she's cleaning, and she's polishing, and she's sweeping, and she's making sure the food is ready, so when he comes home, and he sits and relaxes after he eats, they can sit together in front of the fireplace. So the wife has come in now. She's sitting down next to the husband. Oh, they're just common everyday people, you see. But the wife, she's very unique. She has something very interesting. It's a part of her. She polishes her beautiful golden arm every day, just as she does her chores. She polishes her hand, her arm. It's made of solid gold. It's the most unique thing she has. Well, this particular night that they're sitting by the fireplace, husband smoking his cob pipe, smoke coming down, looking at those beautiful smoke rings. The wife turns to her husband and she says, I have something I want to say. Oh yeah, okay. He's smoking his pipe. But I want to say something to you, and let me say it like this. I need you to promise me, if I go before you, that you will make sure that my golden arm is buried with me, that it's not taken off. It's my pride and joy. Well, husband, he's still smoking his pipe, and he's thinking, yeah, okay. She said, no, I'm really serious, really serious. I need you to make sure that I have my golden arm buried with me. If I go before you, I want you to make a promise promise that I will have my arm intact with me. Okay, he says 3 times. Okay. Won't they live for another good few years, happily, married, she going about doing her chores every day, he going to work and coming in and sitting down and enjoying his pipe every day. And then suddenly, after 7 years, she dies. Just like that. Now, we don't know why she died, what she died from. Maybe it was because her arm was so heavy, carrying a solid gold arm. That could have been it. I don't know. However, the husband is now faced with keeping a promise. He starts to think as he's sitting by the fire, I don't know if I can let all that gold go on the ground. So he scurries on over to where she is. And he does what he has to do. And he gets that gold arm and he heads back to the house. He's all happy, he's jubilant. I got my gold, got my gold, I got my gold. With this gold I can get a new house, some new clothes, a new wagon with 20 white horses. Yes, sir, buddy. Got my gold, got my gold. Well, now he's looking out the window. It's getting dark outside. In fact, it's getting pretty dark outside. In fact, it's getting real